People drive the story of public power in Chelan County. Everyday people who recognized electricity's benefits and took on the big job of securing local control of this vital resource. It started when farm families saw the lights in their neighbors' homes downtown. They questioned why power couldn't come to them as well and found this answer. Utility holding companies were concerned only with profits. Veda McMullen, community leader and door-to-door advocate for public power.
It was pretty bleak. It wouldn't have been so bad if everybody was without electricity, but the people in town had electricity, but we didn't because we were out. Well, we didn't have refrigeration, we didn't have hot water. Oh, we had a bath on Saturday night and sat in the dark. Well, we went to bed at 8 o'clock. We could have had electricity if we had $2,500 to run a line across the road. But that's what it would have cost for us to get it from Puget. That the charge of $2,500 was exorbitant. I think my father paid $2,500 for his ranch.
As rural people did without, some saw the promise of an idea called public power. But where would the new movement find electricity to bring lights to the farm? Kirby Billingsley, who led Chelan County PUD as commissioner and manager over 31 years, remembers the first big push by Wenatchee World publisher Rufus Woods to harness the potential of the Columbia River.
His campaign in his newspaper to get Grand Coulee Dam was the thing that made the people of Chelan County conscious of power. And then they'd keep looking at what was Seattle and Tacoma had. They owned their own power systems, and they had the lowest cost power in the United States. They said, well, my golly, if they can do it in Seattle, maybe we can do it here. So that's where the Grange Power Bill came in.
The Grange backed rural residents in the effort to change state law so counties could form local electric utilities. A statewide vote of the people in 1930 secured the right for Washington counties to create nonprofit, locally controlled public utility districts, PUDs. Utilities owned by the people they serve and governed by locally elected commissioners. Chelan County PUD was organized in 1936, but World War II and major battles with private power companies stalled attempts to get into operation. Finally, in 1947, the PUD built its first power line to serve 10 customers in the Antoine Valley, north of Chelan. Jack Shreve, Chelan County PUD's first employee.
And so we hired a contractor out of Spokane and dreamed up a little rinky-dink line and built it. Let me tell you, if you have ever been to an area where they have never had power, we're talking about farm families who did big washings and lots of cooking and then bring power into them and see those people enjoy the use of power, it's well worth the effort to get it to them. Those people actually broke down and cried.
The PUD moved quickly after that. In 1948, Chelan County PUD purchased Puget Sound Power and Light Company's electric distribution system in the southern half of Chelan County for $8.1 million. Jack Shreve.
After the district took over, the first priority was to replace poles, as many as we could every year. If we got a bad storm, heck, we might lose 75, 80 poles out there that the lines would fall over. It was a hell of a big undertaking.
Chelan County PUD could have been content to string power lines and buy hydroelectricity from federal dams to serve its customers. But the commissioners were bothered by the fact that two dams in their own backyard, Lake Chelan and Rock Island, were generating power for customers outside the county. Harvey Davis, Chelan County PUD's first attorney.
I think Chelan commissioners felt that we should own those properties, and if we didn't actively get after them, why it'd be taken away from us, that somebody else would get it. The commission felt that this stretch of the river really belonged to Chelan PUD, and if there's some way of acquiring that, why they wanted to do that.
Seattle City Light was negotiating to buy Puget Sound Power and Light's Wenatchee system and also insisting it had the right to buy Rock Island Dam. Tacoma claimed it had a right to the dam as well. The PUD had to quickly file a condemnation suit to stop them. The condemnation was interrupted by the Korean conflict, which brought a tremendous demand for aluminum and other metals to support the war effort. The federal government was threatening to take over Rock Island Dam unless the capability was increased to provide power for aluminum and metals production. Chelan County PUD commissioners and community leaders saw an opportunity and took action. In 1951, the PUD leased the dam from Puget Sound Power and Light and added 6 generators. The additional power made it possible for Alcoa to build an aluminum works near Wenatchee. It was a tremendous undertaking for a small PUD. Ed Metcalf, engineer and project manager for the Rock Island Dam expansion.
We were under the gun because here was the Federal Power Commission who had ordered new additional units to be installed. Puget said they didn't have the funds. We were cocky enough to say we did, and we could do it.
That attitude paid off. In 1956, Chelan County PUD bought Rock Island Dam for $31.8 million. The year before, the PUD had purchased the Chelan Dam and the North County electric system from Washington Water Power Company for $20 million. And there was no letting up. Outside interests were focusing upstream on the Rocky Reach site, 7 miles north of Wenatchee. The federal government was interested, so was Seattle City Light. Jack Richardson, who served as PUD commissioner for 28 years from 1942.
I said, if we don't take it, somebody else right close by is going to take it. I said, let's go to work and get it right now. I said, there wasn't much time to fool around there.
In 1956, the PUD broke ground on Rocky Reach Dam, one of the country's largest hydroelectric projects. Total construction costs were $237 million. Where did a small PUD in the middle of the desert in Washington State get the money for Rock Island, Lake Chelan, and Rocky Reach dams? Revenue bonds. But they had to guarantee payment on those bonds, and the other PUDs in Washington State weren't interested in guaranteeing the purchase of power from the Chelan County dams. They had access to cheap federal power, so Chelan County PUD turned to private companies. Harvey Davis, the PUD's first attorney.
The only way that we were able to acquire those properties was because of our contracts and the financing that we were able to obtain because of the power contracts with Puget Water Power, Pacific Power and Light Company, Alcoa, and all of those. It was the only way in which we could finance the acquisition of, say, Rocky Reach or Rock Island, either one. We didn't have the power needs ourselves. It was absolutely essential to the construction and financing of those projects that we have contracts which agreed to pay the costs, whatever they were, and whether or not the project ever operated. That was the way Chelan was able to do it.
By contract, the PUD reserved a share of the power from the dams to serve the needs of our local customer owners. And in the 1960s and 70s, the PUD produced still more hydroelectric power. 4 more generators were installed at Rocky Reach for a total of 11, and a second powerhouse was built at Rock Island. 8 innovative bulb-style turbine generators were installed, the largest in the world at the time. In 1995, all the power produced at the Lake Chelan Hydro Project came back under the PUD's control. Outside power sales contracts for Rocky Reach and Rock Island dams expire in 2011 and 2012, respectively. That's the story of the legacy of locally owned hydroelectric power in Chelan County. It's a story of leadership, vision, foresight, risk, and fortitude. It's a story few remember very well. Curry Billingsley.
They don't realize what a wonderful, wonderful thing we have. They don't realize what a wonderful blessing we have in this Rocky Reach Dam, and how that power is cheapest power in the United States and will continue to be for all time. They can't appreciate what they got. One reason is there's never been an issue to make it necessary to explain to the people there's just never been any contest, any conflict, any friction. It's just come easy. It's come too easy. I guess that's the answer. It's come so easy. We have moved in and put a dam across the river and harnessed the falling water, and it produces electricity so cheap and so smooth and so heavenly. It's just glorious. But it's come so easy that we don't appreciate it.
Today, there are conflicts and critical issues facing Chelan County PUD, its customer owners, and our community leaders. Huge issues. New licenses must be obtained from the federal government, a process costing millions of dollars. The new licenses may come with new operating conditions or regulations. Some people would like to see a river without dams at all. Certainly, the public power pioneers in Chelan County never envisioned the day when the PUD would spend more money to protect fish than it did to build Rocky Reach Dam. New challenges are sure to arise. Kirby Billingsley did know that one day others would once again try to take away the hydroelectric dams that were to belong forever to the customer owners of Chelan County PUD. Kirby Billingsley.
There'll come a time when somebody else will try to get it, but I don't think so. I don't think they can get it. I don't think the local people would let them. I don't think they would stand by and let anybody else move in.